So, to start off September 3rd, the 217th Infantry Division, which is a strategic reserve of the 3rd Army, but are actually on the front line as opposed to just sitting around in Königsberg or Memel. They attack a little bit to the south, and they make some progress against Nowogródzka Cavalry Brigade, despite being a traditionally weak infantry division. 217th makes some progress, which is somewhat important in the sense that they add pressure to other parts of the Polish front. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way because the main part of the front, the movement that's happening on the day of September 3rd, 1939, is at Rzęgnowo. So Panzer Division Kemp comes. They arrive at the area around Wodry Corps, and in the morning, they or in the afternoon, they start their attack. So you got three divisions. One Panzer Division is one of them, and you also got a cavalry brigade going against nothing but one Polish infantry regiment and one Polish cavalry brigade. And the cavalry brigade is not even made up of a bunch of regiments, it's just a bunch of battalions. So yes, there's a lot of disparity between the amount of German troops on this area and the Polish troops. The Polish troops are like outnumbered 3-1 everywhere. Someplace like 4-1. And a lot of this actually is because of the fact that the narrative operational group is just standing still in the east, not doing anything, when they have 2 infantry divisions and 2 cavalry brigades that could have done something to save to save the Mazowiecka Cavalry Brigade, but they can't. They're under different command, and that's not their purpose. So what happens in Rzęgnowo is Panzer Division Kemp. They're the main force that do the attacking. They try to go in 3 directions by splitting into different Kampfgruppen, which are just different operational groups within a force, like a division. I can't tell you what all 3 of those Kampfgruppen did, but they all moved south against Mazowiecka Cavalry Brigade, as well as against the eastern elements of the 20th Infantry Division, and they cut off a lot of the Polish cavalry, which is a huge achievement, because now the Polish lines they're scrambling. The Polish troops are scrambling at this point. The cavalry brigade, Mazowiecka, they're somewhat trapped. They're able to break through, but they're just in a horrible situation. And what makes it a little bit worse is that Emil Krukovic, Mirski, does not know how terrible the situation is, especially for Mazowiecka Cavalry Brigade. He even sends like a message asking the brigade commander, like, what's up, what's going wrong, and you gotta like do this, these are my plans, and you hold still up until September 4th. That's not what the situation is. The reality of the situation is so poor. Mazowiecka Cavalry Brigade is basically destroyed at this point. They're demolished. They're encircled, and the German panzer have gone past them, and there's no way to supply them if they do want to survive for a little bit. So not only the Panzer Division Kemp, Also, of course, Woodrig's 2 infantry divisions make progress as well, the 1st and the 12th. But also, there's some German saboteurs, which makes things a little more difficult for the Poles, because they go in front of the lines just to cut off the Polish communication. So Polish communication is cut off. 8th Division, that's going in to save Nowogródzka Cavalry Brigade, they can't communicate between the regiments and between the staff of the divisional headquarters and each of the regiments. They can't communicate. So this leads to a lot of problems. 79th Infantry Regiment, they retreat, obviously, and a lot of them, some of them make through, much of them, some of them don't. But 1st and 12th Infantry Division of Werner, of Woodrig's corps, they kind of just like follow the lead of the Panzer Division, and they go along with wherever they are. And the situation looks pretty terrible for Mazowiecka Cavalry Brigade, as I've said. In 8th Division, although they're supposed to be the final hope, the help, they don't actually do what they're supposed to do. And that entire eastern front line near Rzęgnowo, even though basically Rzęgnowo is, they might as well be captured. It's horrible for the Polish side of things. So even though the army commander moves 8th Division over, one, their communication is blocked. 2, they don't have any supporting units. They just can't counterattack. And one issue that happens is that the divisional commander, which is Colonel Fergalski, he's the commander of 8th Infantry Division. He makes a huge mistake for that situation. I don't know if the division would have done much progress if he did not make that mistake, but it's definitely a mistake to split his division into 2 groups. Use 1 regiment to attack in one direction, and then 2 regiments to attack another. And also considering that there's massive communication problems, there's issues. 21st Infantry Regiment goes alone, absolutely no support, no light tanks, no they might have had engineers, but no artillery support, no air support, and no reconnaissance support at all, of course. They're just facing entire like divisions basically, and without any obstacles. A division that's well equipped and with good leadership and with well-trained men are almost always going to outmatch a regiment, which is like the size of a fifth of a division, a regiment that has their communications broken off. They don't have any support. They have acceptable equipment, but they don't have outlandish German equipment. So who do you think is going to win? It's going to be the German Infantry Division. So that's exactly what happens. And same thing with 32nd Infantry Regiment along with 13th Infantry Regiment. Those 2 go on the eastern side, the other side, and they try to help the 79th Infantry Regiment, but they're not able to do that. So as I said, the German saboteurs have cut off communication lines. They fight each other. You might expect, okay, so they gotta help out 79th Infantry Regiment, So who are they going to attack? 1st Infantry Division, German 12th Infantry Division. Are they going to attack one of the Kampfgruppen of the Panzer Division Kemp? No, they fight each other because they don't realize who each other are, and they fight until the evening. And technically, you can say 32nd Infantry Regiment lost the battle because they're the ones who retreated. It's the weaker of the two, and 3rd Infantry Regiment won against their teammates. So this is obviously great news for the Germans. You've destroyed a lot of Polish units without having to fight them. And moreover, Polish Mazowiecka Cavalry Brigade and pretty much the 78th Infantry Regiment, they're like destroyed. They're destroyed for the most part. Maybe they have some they have some men that are flowing in through and are able to make their way to the main front line, but most of them, they're just encircled, and the German soldiers behind the front line are just going to mop them all up, and they can't do anything to fight it. So Panzer Division Kemp made serious attacks against 78th Infantry Regiment, but also against 79th. 79th is also attacked by some western elements of Panzer Division Kemp, and some engineers of Petzel's 1st Corps. I think it's of the 61st Infantry Division, but it might be the 11th. They managed to break through the Polish anti-tank defenses at Mława. So this is pretty big, at least for then. The anti-tank ditches were supposed to be like almost impenetrable. That's what it's supposed to be like. That's what the first encounter felt like. 6-meter wide ditches, tall walls, and they've also stuck up these railroad lines, train tracks is what they're called, and just stuck them up vertically and just used them as walls. So Germans couldn't like break through because the Poles, they just used train tracks, stuck them up vertically onto concrete, and you know, that's their defense. The Polish artillery can fire from behind, but at some point it's broken by the engineers, who are able to find a way to come across there. So now that means that the forces in Mława are going to be under a lot more pressure after this. Although the biggest pressure is going to come from its eastern and southern flank, from the main attack going on in that direction, trying to attack the rear. So Modlin front in general is just in a pretty bad situation by the end of September 3rd's events. So good day for the Germans, bad day at Modlin and Rzęgnowo and at Brzenisz. The entire eastern flank is just collapsing, and the 8th Infantry Division is unable to sustain it. And Krukowicz Przymirski knows this, and probably Rich McLean also knows this. It's not going well, and they're pretty much on collapse. But of course, they have other important matters to think about as well, such as the events in Silesia and from the Slovak border. They give you a very, very brief overview of what happens to the other parts of the front. Polish corridor is broken. Heinz Guderian's corps managed to break the corridor and just demolish a bunch of Polish forces in the Pomorsche Army, Army Łódź, and Army Krakow are also under some trouble, and the Carpathy Army is also in trouble. The Germans have breached from Slovakia. Slovak troops are moving there as well. Czestochowa has fallen, Mokra has fallen, and the Germans are trying to close in to the big city, Krakow. And we'll see whether that happens in a different episode, because that's Army Group South. But the last really important thing that happens is on the diplomatic front. Germany has been at war with Poland for 3 days, since September 1st. But since 11:15 a.m., Britain goes to war with Germany. And also hours later, France goes to war with Germany. So Germany is going to soon be at war with the entire Commonwealth, as well, basically all of the British allies, British Commonwealths, dominions, I should say. So Germany is technically now in a two-front war. France and Poland. Although Poland are doing really well, and France, as you'll see, they don't do a lot of effort to try to cross the Maginot Line into the Rhine. But Poland is pretty screwed in many different front lines.